G'day guys, my name is Caleb, otherwise known as the Critic Kebab. Welcome to another episode on my FC24 Chelsea Career Mode series. It has been another devastating week for the football club as we have been knocked out of the FA Cup in the semi-finals against Manchester City and then sorely embarrassed at the Emirates against a high-flying Arsenal side competing for that Premier League title. And Chelsea look like a side who have no comprehension of how to compete in this league that we have been so competitive in many years in our recent history. And it's quite simple, the players are just not good enough. And Pochettino is being let down by shocking defence and aimless attack. The owners have overpaid for mediocre players all across the park, and the fans are here just left to suffer. And I'll be honest with you guys, I do not thrive off negativity. It's not why I make these videos. I started this set of videos on the channel because I wanted to share my enthusiasm and engage with you guys in the comments below and thrive off the success that we were having at this football club. Obviously, I started around when Thomas Tuchel was involved, and then obviously everything changed once Russia invaded Ukraine and Roman Abramovich was sanctioned and the club had to be sold, and the Americans have come in, changed the strategy, changed the culture, pretty much removed everyone from behind the scenes at the club, and now it's new faces everywhere. Everyone's having to adapt, and when there's expectations that are set at the very high end because that's what we've come to expect over the last 20 years, and you're falling well below that, the fan base is instantly going to become frustrated, as well as many other people in the media, as well as old ex-players such as John Terry and Franco Zola and Drogba and many others that have voiced their discontent on social media and in various podcasts and media outlets. But let's just get straight into it. The Manchester City game, I know it's almost been a week, so it's kind of old news, but I'll just touch on the big thing that was in all the headlines last week was, of course, that handball decision that was not given to us in that game. Jack Grealish is standing in the wall. Cole Palmer takes the free kick. Michael Oliver, the referee who literally is unable to see. He needs to go to Specsavers and get a pair of glasses because he can't see through the two eyeballs he's got in his thick skull. And unfortunately, he doesn't give the penalty on the field. And then VAR refuses to even look at it for half a second and advise Michael Oliver to go see it a second time himself. And not only should it have been a corner, but it should have definitely been a penalty. So Chelsea were 100% robbed of a penalty in that situation. There's no excuse. The VAR is broken. Not the technology itself, but the way it's implemented in this game and the officials that are actually utilizing the technology itself, they are incomprehensibly incompetent, and it makes me so infuriated that happens so often, not only in the Premier League, but in all competitions that it's involved in. And the Premier League itself has shown numerous occasions how poor it has been. And for those who were following along with what happened with Nottingham Forest on the weekend, they are completely justified in voicing their frustration on social media. Does it lack class? Yes. Is it the right thing to do? Debatable. But it is undeniable that the referees have made so many fixtures go in the wrong way because of their poor officiating, and it's going to affect this title for sure, as Manchester City now stroll into pole position, despite Arsenal, who we did get absolutely walloped by midweek. They do look like healthy contenders, but with Manchester City in their dominance and the easy run-in that they have, it looks like they will be winning 4 Premier League titles in a row. But I do want to have a quick word on Arsenal. They have been absolutely fantastic throughout this season. Their consistency over this season and last has to be commended. Mikel Arteta came into the club and won an FA Cup in his first season. I think that gave him the springboard to allow the ownership to trust him enough to go on this project and continue it further, because In the first couple seasons, they were finishing 8th. They were in sort of around mid-table. They weren't doing very well, and they were losing to games to like Brentford, who had just been promoted. And there were lots of fans who were asking for Mikel Arteta's head to be put on a spike and for him to get pushed out the door. And the club decided against that. They stuck with him, and now they are seeing the rewards of trusting a manager and letting him figure out solutions, buy in the right players, build a team, build a consistency, build a mentality, and now they're competing for the Premier League title. And we saw that midweek. They were a team that were motivated, that had the desire to show a great entertaining performance for their home crowd in a London derby. And Chelsea rocked up and were like a deer in headlights. We got absolutely stunned straight away with a goal in the early stages of the game. Leonardo Trossard getting them off to a good start. And then it took Chelsea a little bit to sort of grab a sense of momentum for themselves and control the play, control possession, and slowly get the ball forward on occasion. And of course, we did have opportunities with Nicholas Jackson, and he failed to convert. And again, I think it is so obvious for everyone who follows this club. He's such a frustrating player because there's so much quality there with his link-up play, his runs in behind, his pace, acceleration, all of it. But he's not clinical. And yes, Nkunku, who is going to be our main goal-scoring threat this season, has been out injured. But that meant that Nicholas Jackson had to step up into that void, adopt the responsibility and score goals for us. And he's done okay. But at the Chelsea Football Club, the expectations, like I was saying at the beginning of this episode, have always been up here. And if you don't deliver, you normally get booted out the door. And because he's on an 8-year contract, question marks will be raised. But he had so many opportunities against Manchester City in the semi-final and failed to capitalise. And we should have definitely been beating them because they were so tired after playing 120 minutes against Real Madrid. And they were definitely not at the races because they were so fatigued. And we played really well. Pochettino got the tactics spot on with the high press and having Conor Gallagher play in that left wing position to be sort of positioned to make those interceptions and then bounce and hopefully get on the attack and score. But we just didn't have that cutting edge at the top end of the field. And Jackson really let down us as a fan base on that day. And again, against Arsenal at the Emirates with attempts where he's meant to be heading the ball into the back of the net, but he's got his hand in the way. It's just embarrassing. It's simply not good enough. And I say all of this not to get upset with these players, and I don't want to see any abuse towards any of them. We want to be encouraging them, but at the same time, criticism must be pointed out when it is undeniable. And so many of these players are just simply not good enough. And Pochettino said coming into the Arsenal game, we need to prove that we are not Cole Palmer FC. And getting smashed 5-0 by Arsenal proves that we rely on him far too much to just link ourselves from the defence into the midfield and into the attack. He plays such a vital role, and we desperately need him to perform in the following games in this season, coming up against Aston Villa, especially tonight. I'm going to get my beauty sleep, wake up early and watch that game, and I really do hope that I can come into my instant match reaction and have something positive to say, because like I said before, I do not thrive off negativity. I've become so melancholy supporting this club now, and it really does make me think and second guess what is the point of me doing these videos, because I don't want to be one of those channels and one of those voices on the social media where I'm just yelling into the camera, I'm just screaming into the void and shouting at players and causing abuse and stuff. I just don't want to be a part of that. And for me, I'm not someone who thrives off negativity. I want to be as positive as possible, but at the same time, when I see bad stuff, I'm going to call it out. It's just plain and simple. The owners have come through and they've implemented this strategy of buying young players. And some of them have come from different countries. They don't all speak the language. It's different cultures. And they've all just been mashed together, thrown at the wall, and we'll see what sticks. And so far, not a lot of it has. And I understand we have an injury crisis, but Pochettino, he has to be doing better with the players that we've got, because there's way too much quality for us to be sitting in mid-table. And it is severely disappointing. But this concludes this episode of the FC24 Chelsea career mode. As you can see, we're also sitting in mid-table in the career mode, but it's just one of those things. I don't think Pochettino is going to be sacked. It's plain and simple. I think the players that we've got, we just have to be patient with them because they will get better with time, and we just need to be as encouraging as possible. But in the meantime, it's just going to be so frustrating. So hopefully you guys can relate to what I'm saying in this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please smash that like button. Again, comment your thoughts down below. And make sure you are subscribed because I will be posting my instant match reaction for the Aston Villa game as it's played out. Hopefully it's a win. Come on, you Blues.